extraverted sensing, partying the whole week because they just can't take responsibility and want to just have fun. In this video, we will be discussing perceiving functions. How do you perceive things? How do you view the world? Well, these are the answers. So, we have two perceiving function axes. We have introverted intuition in an axis with an extroverted sensing and an introverted sensing in an axis with extroverted intuition. Why? Well, we have both sensing and intuition functions because they balance each other out, the same way as feeling and thinking functions balance each other out. The sensory functions, extroverted and introverted sensing, are there to gather concrete information from the environment, either in an extrospective way or an introspective way. But why do we have intuition then? Well, when we are interpreting stuff, even if it's concrete, we have to fill in some gaps, like our understandings of it. So intuition, or the abstract concepts and understandings, are there to fill in the gaps that we cannot see in the concrete. What does all of this mean? Okay, so right now I can see a man walking on the street and wearing a green jacket whatsoever. So this is now the sensory information I'm picking up. Why is he wearing a green jacket? Let me think of all the possibilities or reasons. But the thing is that the abstract is there to make the concrete information more understandable. Therefore, a high intuition user will focus more on the meanings and the abstract concepts like relations and dynamics, but the higher sensing person will, on the other hand, focus more on the sensory concrete information. So, what is extraverted sensing? So first of all, if you're thinking this airheaded person who is just partying the whole week because they just can't take responsibility and want to just have fun, put all your stereotypical thinking away, okay? An extroverted sensing dominant can be a person who really enjoys hedonistic activities. But let's think for a while why. Picture a person who is heavily focused on what is happening in the extroverted concrete world, rather than focusing what they are thinking in their head. Extroverted sensing users' mental energy is focused on the external sensory information. It's actually really interesting because an extrovert sensing user can see raw details, actually really be present in the moment, seeing the details in a concrete environment and focusing the mental energy naturally in that. So an extroverted sensing user's time scale is really mostly focused on the present moment. They are not as much concerned with what is going to happen next. They are more concerned in a short time scale, like what is happening today, right now in front of me, or tomorrow, but not for a really long time scale. They really see what is happening, what is existing, the reality. So extroverted sensing users are amazing at engaging with the physical reality, not making too many interpretations of it. Of course, extroverted sensing user is also using to some degree introverted intuition, which means that with this introverted intuition, they connect the concrete reality into one abstract concept or meaning. How do you know someone is an extroverted sensing user? Okay, oh my god, it started snowing here. Why do I live in Finland? Okay. So, extroverted sensing users can sometimes come across really forceful because they are good at adapting to situations really fast, and also they want to see concrete results in things because they are focused in the tangible. They might be really good at manifesting things physically. They might be really good in physical stuff like dancing, singing. They are good at communicating with their body language. Instead of trying to categorize things in the physical, they are purely experiencing things in the most foundational sense. As time goes on, they pick up things in the concrete, and with their introverted intuition function, they can predict things, they can see trends and patterns because they have been so focused on the concrete. But when they combine it with their intuition, it's great. They are good at taking immediate actions. They want to impact in people in physical, concrete ways. They might be really good at navigating in really difficult situations, not thinking too much, coming to solutions and just let's go. John Beebe says that on the surface, an extroverted sensing user can seem like they are engaging with the world. But in the heart of the extroverted sensing process is experiencing things, experiencing life. On the most evolved level, John Beebe says that extraverted sensing is enjoying, purely enjoying for its own sake. And I think what was really interesting is that John Beebe says in his book that rather than thinking that enjoyment seems like a subjective, selfish goal, just like it's some sort of entertainment, it should not be confused, because once an extroverted sensing user has truly touched the experience itself, they become truly aware what this thing, phenomenon, this concrete reality, what that actually is. It is the opposite of the mental representation of things. It focuses on actually touching and understanding the thing as it is. Okay, what is introverted sensing? Well, it's similar to extroverted sensing, but this one is directed towards inwards. Of course, since we're talking about sensing functions, it is still concerned with the concrete and the tangible. But now, since it's an inward process, we are actually interacting with our inner concrete information. Now we're confused. What does this mean? Concrete information that is stored in your brain can vary from personal memories, perceived important values, and just information that you have found to be true, tangible memories. Because this function is focused on interacting with the tangible in your brain, it is focused more in the past. It doesn't mean it's not living in the moment, but it's not engaging with the physical environment at the moment. Rather, it is more focused in the internal concrete information that has been gathered from the past. And then we can be like, oh, all the introverted sensing users just care about rules and they don't know how to have fun because they're so afraid of everything in the world happening. Like, no. Introverted sensing users are using their past information, and maybe they might be more critical towards the unknown. But usually they prefer facts over assumptions. Their inner dialogue have decided or is assessing what information is true or false. What information is worth of remembering to use that as a tool for the future. Therefore, an introverted sensing user might be first observing the environment, having a dialogue at the same time with their past, and then after that they might take action based on the dialogue. They want to maintain things and keep things regulated in a certain way. They are more likely to spot the changes in the environment because they can compare it. They might be more detail oriented because of that. And what's the best thing? Well, an introverted sensing user, they might learn well from their past and their memories. They learn better from their mistakes than any other function. Of course, this can be also the negative, because if they accept the mistakes as the truth, they might be more afraid of them in the future. At the same time, an introverted sensing user does not learn things maybe immediately. They need maybe more time and repeat to learn things. Once they have learned, it stays with an introverted sensing user. They value routines and consistency. John Beebe describes that an introverted sensing user, you can think of that function as the established rules, memories, the things that have all worked in the past. And that's why it's so great to have an interaction with extroverted intuition, because once introverted sensing has seen some things in the past, and extroverted intuition can build on multiple possibilities and symbols just based on what has been happening by far. John Beebe says that from the surface level, an introverted sensing user seems like they are implementing stuff. But on the heart of the process, an introverted sensing user is actually verifying using their references from the past. But on the most evolved level, an introverted user is accounting. Okay, let's have some concrete examples now. Extroverted sensing dominants, which are SFPs and STPs, they usually want to gain more experience because they feel like they have not experienced enough. They need concrete evidence what's going on in the world so that they can make conclusions with their introverted intuition, which is not as strong as their extroverted sensing. That is why they will prioritize the present experiences, present happenings, over thinking of the future or investing in the future. An SI dominant person, which are STJs and SFJs, might be investing in things that has worked in the past. They see some memories, values, routines, guidelines, schedules, etc. that has worked. This is why they sometimes might have comfort zones and a bit of avoidance of new things. Of course, this can manifest in different ways. It can be relationships, friendships, but what I have noticed is once an introverted sensing has had good experiences or they have overcome their fears of uncertainty, I think they might be really open-minded with their extroverted intuition. So, summary. Introverted sensing is chasing more ideas with their extroverted intuition rather than current present experiences. An extroverted sensing user, on the other hand, is chasing the current experiences rather than like multiple ideas. Next video, I will be explaining what are intuition functions. Stay tuned.